Good evening. I am your host, Sharmark, and indeed I'm very excited for another episode of the Sharmark Show. I think today I am very excited. I think you must be wondering why am I wearing green, but it's a very important color, and I think by the time the show starts, you're going to wear green a little more often, and you would understand the color green, and you might respect it. I have two very beautiful women here. I don't want to introduce them because they might just put me in the shade. But however, ladies, good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. So can you please tell our audience your names and why are we wearing green?
Welcome. Welcome, St. Lucia. I am Daria Robinson Ernest, President of the Cerebral Palsy Association of St. Lucia. And we are wearing green to raise awareness for the condition cerebral palsy.
My name is Diane Leos. I am the Vice President of the Cerebral Palsy Association of St. Lucia.
So ladies, tell us, cerebral palsy, how long has been the organization has been in St. Lucia? How long has it been around? Because growing up, you used to see kids with those conditions, and then now we have the scientific name, I would say, because growing up, I mean, you hear people say names as Dek Dek, Gogo, and I think it's almost like now as you educate yourself and you realize that was almost like discriminating against those kids.
Absolutely.
So how long has the organization been around, and what motivated you all to have an organization like this?
Well, we've been in existence for 12 years.
Wow.
Both of us are parents of children with cerebral palsy.
You see that and I get cold. So that's why I ordered the president, the vice president. I kind of like it because it's almost like you'd be more passionate to the cause because you know what it's like on a day-to-day basis.
So what it was both of us, our kids got diagnosed, and the Child Development Guidance Center, which is the base for diagnosing children with conditions, they sort of put us together. They got us in touch with each other, and we decided to put a support group together for parents and children with cerebral palsy.
So basically you all did not know each other before the cause?
No, we didn't.
Oh wow.
I
But I look at you all the time, it's
Yes.
almost like two people who know each other forever.
Yes, Diane's son was born, well, her twin were born first, but then when I had my son, I was looking for somebody to speak to understand a little
For
bit
support.
more about the condition, and that is how we got into contact. I remember calling her, and I just remember, she was on the phone, she was very informative at the time, actually. I mean, we're going a little way down, but she was already exploring options for her son overseas based on the limitations that we have in St. Lucia.
Wow. And I think when Diane gave me your Facebook page, I was like, I went through the whole page. You know, sometimes somebody's saying something and you just look at it. I had to go through the page to understand what the awareness was about and to just understand what the kids going through and the amount of passion you all put in the whole page, because I realized you all have so many, like almost I would say open days where they get to play and
Yes.
stuff like that. But how do you all get all those parents? How do you all contact all those people? I realize there's quite a few parents that dealing with this special kids.
So currently, well, at this stage, what we have is a WhatsApp group. So when we have what we consider to be our family fun day, we would let the parents know that we are hosting the day. But most importantly, what we would like to also bring awareness to is actually World Cerebral Palsy Day, which is on October 6th. So that is around the time that we host our family fun day. It's an opportunity for the children to interact, to socialize, and also for the parents to just share their stories, share information, learn from each other. So that is our main event, which we focus around that day, just as to raise awareness of the condition.
So if presently there's a young person, a young mother with a child with the condition and maybe they don't know how to deal with it and they come to join the organization, do you have like a counseling team to help them to understand it? Because I know for some people, when they're young and they have a child that's disabled, it's kind of almost like a bullet in their head. They don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well-
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, what happens is, like I said, most children are diagnosed from the Child Development Guidance Center. And from that point, they would most likely put the parent in touch with us.
Okay.
And again, we provide emotional, some physical support to the parents. We advocate as much as possible. But in terms of counseling, we don't have an in-house counselor. So what we do, if we know a parent, if a parent comes and a parent said, well, you know, we have an issue and whatever, and we feel like they need to be counseled, we would get them a counselor.
Okay.
So, but we're counselors in ourselves because of our level of experience and having to interact with so many other parents and children with the condition.
Wow. So on October 6th, is it just a one day? Is it a week of activities, the month of activities? What should we expect?
So for us, we want to actually create awareness for the day. We will have the family fun day, but prior to that, we will raise awareness with our workplaces and just ensuring that other persons give us that support. Generally, what we would do is encourage persons to wear green the Friday before, and then we ask them to share their photos with us, tag us on social media as well. So just in an effort to raise awareness.
So if somebody wants to give a donation to the foundation, how do you go ahead and do that? Do you all have an account number?
So we will supply it when you can show it to the bottom of the
Oh,
screen.
definitely. Yes, definitely.
But yes, we bank with Bank of St. Lucia, so we can provide these details.
Okay, nice. So do you have a database of how many kids on island?
For us, we have registered children with cerebral palsy. So parents who choose to register
Yes.
with us.
Okay.
It does not say and give you the actual number of persons, because you still have a lot of older persons who have the condition. Well, they were small and then they get older.
Yes.
They have the condition and their parents just don't feel like they need to be interactive or they need to be in this sort of thing. But for our database, we have now like 60 children with the condition, but there are a lot more who really cannot get to us because of the demographic, where they're located. You know, we're in the north. So, you know, you have a lot of people in Soufrière, you have people in Vieux-Fort with children with cerebral palsy. So, but our database just mostly encompasses Babuno, Castries, two persons in
Ancillary,
Vieux-Fort,
and
Ancillary, yeah, Dennery, Bexon, you know, but we're not able to reach everybody. Again, we don't have a secretariat. We don't have an office. So it makes it difficult for us to keep and maintain information because both of us are
Yes,
both of us are
employed.
employed. Yes.
So maybe self-employed, you speak in the way.
Yes.
I
Well,
claim
she's
that you might
self-employed.
have a huge building or something, you know? Yeah, because I think it's almost like you're speaking and I'm trying to visualize all what you're saying. So with this condition, do you have anybody with the condition, you know, presently that's actually working and they're independent and stuff like that?
Yes, we do have a member. He actually attained his degree at UWI,
Oh,
St.
nice.
Augustine, and he's employed, married with a family. So what we want persons to also recognize is that having a condition does not limit you, but you do need the right resources. You do need the right support, and that is why we are here to create the awareness of the condition cerebral palsy.
And we'll be right back with more information. We'll dive in deeper into the cerebral palsy condition. Welcome back, and we're going to get some more information on the condition CP. Ladies, how can you tell from pregnancy if the child is going to be born with the condition?
Okay, so what you would find, if the person has an at-risk pregnancy, there's a possibility that the child may develop cerebral palsy. Another way that a child can get cerebral palsy is actually during the birthing process. So if the mother is giving birth and the child has lack of oxygen to the brain, which is what I experienced as well as Diane. So our term, up until term pregnancy, we were totally fine. Diane actually has a twin. So the the pregnancy itself was not a troubled pregnancy, but during the birthing process, the child experienced lack of oxygen to the brain, and that would cause the condition to arise.
Okay. And then even from looking at your page, I realize some of the persons with the condition, some of them speak fluently, and some of them have a difficulty in speaking. So different persons have it at a different level, I would say.
Yes. So cerebral palsy affects each individual differently. So you can have cases of mild cerebral palsy, and then you can have also severe cerebral palsy.
So the severe it might wait will affect all four limbs.
All four limbs,
Wow.
as well as the tongue. Sometimes, the speech is slurred, it's delayed.
Okay.
And that's sometimes what makes it difficult for persons to interact with a child who they see with CP, because the child looks different. So
Yeah.
persons put up a wall, and interacting as well will be a little difficult if the child has difficulty speaking.
But what I think with children with difficulties like that, I just find it so warm. I don't know if it's they take away everything from them and they give them the kindness and the warmness. It's almost like they pay attention. It's like they want to speak or they want to do more, and the level of interaction I think is very high. And I think with all the activities, because I saw that bouncing castle, I see these girls have a lot of money. They're really doing things. I was quite impressed with that part. I see you all had like an open day and you all had some beds you all put and stuff like that. And I think it was interesting for me because to see the way that you all make sure that it was comfortable. Because instead of, I think if I am disabled, I wouldn't want to come and try to sit in a chair and stuff like that. And do you have volunteers or everybody I see in the video are parents?
Well, yes, we do have volunteers. We've had volunteers that have been with us from the beginning, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And they've been at every activity. So it's a group from Ancillary,
I
headed
think I saw it to the
Victor
camera and then
by
it's,
Victor,
yes.
Victor Price, and they've been with us. What he does, he recruits young children, and as one of or part of their
Organization.
as part of the
I
organization,
like
they
the
do
way,
the.
I think I like the idea of that organization with all the crime and everything that's happening now. I think that young people look for something to believe in and something
Yes,
to
yes.
put their time into.
Yes. So all our activities, we have volunteers. We need volunteers because at that point in time, we want the parents to have a break, because most of them, the parents don't get a break. They don't work because there's nobody to take care of the child. There's no facility to put the child. So they have to stay home with the child. So they see the child 24/7. So at that point in time, we give them a break. So the volunteers would take over, feed the children, change them, bathe them if we're on the beach, so.
So the parents can get at least a 20
Oh,
minutes
yes,
of free
yes,
time.
yes.
Now we had what you call a respite day, where we would take the parents to a nice lunch at a hotel, dress up everything, and the kids would have been taken care of by the volunteers. But as in anything else, things have gotten a little rough. The donations don't come in as it used to.
Stick a pin right there. You say donation don't come in. I have a hot check for the show. So, on the behalf of myself, yes.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I said, you see, so I just find it was only fit.
Yes.
For a cause like that to come in the show. And I mean, like, the show have sponsors, and I think it's only fit that the sponsors will see that we're not just having a show, we're giving back to society and stuff like
that's
that.
a nice
'Cause I said
surprise.
there's kick. So that's about 40 kicks you'll say. Yes. But in terms of that, do you have like any sponsors you would like to say thank you? I mean, here's an opportunity to anybody that has been helping you all throughout this 12 years, or anybody you'd like to make mention of?
Well, we have a Patreon. What we did, the first thing we did when we formed the organization was to have a patron, somebody that would look after us, somebody who was prestigious, somebody who was kind, somebody, who has love. And what we did with the guidance of Vernette Sentome, she guided us towards Mrs. Chabotskoy. She's the the owner
and
of
Chasney Jade Mountain.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
And so
that's
she's
nice.
our patron, and there's nothing that this lady doesn't do for us. So she
Well, I think I
goes.
saw a few times on your page.
Yes,
Yes.
she goes out. She really goes out
Oh,
for
that's good. That's
children
good.
with cerebral palsy.
And I think it's a good thing that anybody can come about, because the funny thing about this, life happens and you just never know when you decide to start a family what would happen. So I think if anybody can donate to the cause, be a volunteer, whatever way you can, I think you should reach out, because at the end of the day, sometimes unless we don't leave a situation, we don't try to make an effort, but at that time it's too late. So if you can make a donation, your time, whatever it is, I think it's going to go a long way, even for us as a people in the country.
I'd also like to add, we do have another major sponsor, but they would like to remain anonymous. But
Okay, nice.
I'm acknowledging you.
Yeah, okay, nice,
So
nice.
you know, once you see the video, you know that you've been
Yes,
acknowledged
really
without
anonymous.
your identity being
Oh,
given
nice,
out.
nice, nice. So do you have Facebook, Instagram? What is your, how do you call it, the name of your handles, your Facebook handles?
It's CPA St. Lucia. It's on Facebook. We only have a Facebook page at this
Facebook.
time.
Okay,
yes.
cool. And we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now we're going to get some personal information about the lady's experience, because they each has a son with their condition. I would just like to get a little more feedback in terms of what it was, because you all look so relaxed. You all look like anybody that have no son with a condition and stuff like that. What was the experience like, Diane?
Well, I had multiple gestation. So it was a little bit hard for me in the beginning because I thought I was having one. And during the delivery, we had some issues, and he was diagnosed 8 months after. It was hard. I always tell people I didn't cry because I wanted to channel all my strength towards getting him better or giving him a normal life.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. I've always treated him like my luggage. He goes everywhere I go. Everywhere you see me, you see him. Right now, he's at Donata, the multi disability center. He goes there 4 days a week.
Okay.
The other day, that's a Friday, he would go to a preschool. Thank God the preschool have taken him because he's 15. So at that age, you no longer fit into a preschool environment. But the preschool take him, and I'm very thankful for that. And it's just a loving child. It's just everybody who meets him, you fall in love with him right
I
away.
saw you all did a video time of that Gority thing, and he that's in a hurry to say.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So what was your experience like?
Well, okay, so my experience was really, I mean, the birth, as I said, I had a really normal pregnancy. The birth process was horrendous. I remember trying to push, not being able to push. And I just remember being told, well, you have to push. And it was difficult. It was difficult. And eventually when he came out, he was asphyxiated. So he had lack of oxygen to the brain. He spent a few, maybe like 2 weeks in the NICU, which is the neonatal unit, so that he could be monitored, so that he could get support in terms of oxygen, getting oxygen to the lungs. And I just remember being told my son had 2 days to live or to die.
Wow, that must have been
And
hard.
I mean, just repeating it, it just seems really. But he's now, I'm even forgetting his age. He's now 14 years. Thank God for that. And I honestly, I'm just kind of overwhelmed right now, just reliving.
understand,
Yeah,
yes, I
it
understand.
was yes.
Yeah.
But he has done the CPA exam. He was able to receive support through the ministry to do his CPA exam 2 years ago. He's now in Form 2 at Leonhes.
Wow.
And
Would have told.
yes,
Yeah.
2 days to live or to die. But
Yeah.
thankfully, he has overcome some of the hurdles, because again, with cerebral palsy, the condition is lifelong. So it's not progressive, but as the child gets older, you realize certain limitations that probably you didn't realize when they were 2 or 3, but they would have other limitations as they mature. So what I would like to say again to St. Lucia and to those listening in is that give a person with not just cerebral palsy but with any disability, give them a chance. We want to also encourage the government to really put people with special needs first.
I would say that,
You know, because as much as we're not feeling, we're not seeing, I think, yes, things are starting to happen now, but we need a bigger shift. We really need that energy to be channeled for the improvements of the lives of these children, because these children eventually become adults, and we want to ensure that they can remain or become contributing members of the society.
That's the powerful words you said there. Because I think I realized both of you all got emotional, so I have to try to get a little emotional. But I just listening to it, it's almost like you all sound like super moms. You know, that's why they say it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So maybe if you all didn't even stand behind your kids, you all would just give up and say, okay, Tima Maila, pass a parler, pass a thing. But I always think sometimes the more you interact with a child, that child will get to a level, that child will just surprise you. It will be beyond your limits. The sky is the limit. And I think sometimes to have that kind of energy, I just hope by any parents or looking at the program right now would get encouraged by that, because sometimes people give up. I think as human beings, we give up too fast. Because even for me, sometimes I stand in my store and I get emotional. I say, Sharmark, you didn't do it, and like, what's happening? Where you get that shop? Where you get that car? You know, it's almost like you try not to prove people wrong, but you break the barriers. And I went through your page, and as I must say, like, congratulations. I would love, you know, if you all ever had anything again, I can give you a bigger check than that, but you know, a little interview that would make it go a long way. And I think I would love for St. Lucians to maybe wear green on the 6th of October, because I think it's a condition that affects us as a people, affects your neighbor. And I think it's time we need to break those barriers instead of calling people deck, go, all kind of things. I mean, like, some people, your whole life, you have a disabled child in the community, and everybody in the community just calling that person deck or go. I think I'm the only person in Senegal that doesn't have a nickname. I don't think people should answer to nicknames. It's only when you die, you're an AKA, like some gangster. At the end of the day, I think we need to start using people's name and addressing people properly. And I think sometimes, as you said, if the workforce would employ maybe somebody who's disabled, if eye condition, a walking whatever the condition is, I mean, like, you need to give them a chance, because at the end of the day, they're human beings, they have bills to pay, some of them have families, and we have to give them a reason to live. And I think with your foundation, I'm quite impressed with what I've seen. Like, I went through the page, I said, no, if I'm going to interview these ladies, I need to go through the page. Let me hit these girls with some strong questions, but look like you're stronger than me today, because I was quite impressed with what I saw on the page. So what would you like to happen for the next, let's say, 5 years with the organization?
Well, I think I'd go a little broader than the organization. I think what we really want holistically is for the children to thrive, which would mean good medical care, good education, a good education system, because even though the children go into schools, they would need an aid. And a lot of times the parents themselves cannot afford to pay an aid for the child. So if we can get a more holistic plan that works for children with cerebral palsy, you know, that would really...
you call it a petition and send it to the Prime Minister.
We will.
Maybe sometimes they just... I think sometimes some people, until they don't even... You may just need to sit down with them and explain to them, and then for them to understand how important it is. You know, I think most times we just look at the bigger things, everybody's that's moving, but at the end of the day, sometimes everybody has a part to play when you really look at it. And I think I would love to see that happen. Yeah, because most times you go to through the business places. I think one of the two of the banks, you see there's a particular lady at Republic in a wheelchair. The banks, there's a person, and you like that when I go there. You try to always say hi. You see the persons with the cane, the blind. I don't know if they're partially blind or blind. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you give them a reason to live, because you get up in the morning, you know you're going to work. and then you don't want to be dependent on your parents all the time. Look, you say your son is that Leon Hess. I mean, like, who would have thought, you know? Wow, that's good. And I think for some children, when they're like that, they don't want to feel too pampered. They want to feel normal.
Yes.
Maybe they want to say, okay, mommy, I can take it from here. Yes. This is perfect. I need to take it in. I'm feeling hot in a good way. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming. I think this interview was very informative. Before we wrap up, is there anything any of you would like to share before we wrap up?
Okay, well, like Daria said, we have the 6th of October as the observance of cerebral palsy awareness. So on that day, what we usually do, we have a fun day for the children and parents of the condition. We'll do a church service first, and then we'll do a fun day. But we're asking persons to wear green on the Friday before, which is the 4th. And
Sunday.
Sunday is the actual activity.
Yeah,
Yes,
the day,
yes,
the day,
yeah.
the
Okay,
actual day.
nice. Okay, nice. Yes. But Sanisha, you heard it from the president and the vice president. I mean, like, these are the engines behind the cerebral.
Cerebral or
Cerebral.
Cerebral
No, I have to get the word
palsy.
my good. I ain't going no shortcut. But that's like everything now is abbreviation. But it was a learning process for me in terms of getting the pronunciation. So I'd like to say thank you for watching. And please wear green. And the 6th of October, tell a friend. And it's important. I think if we can do it as a unit, as a people. Thank you. Have a good night.